So right now, we finally got news on the MCC flighting, which it's been quite a while since we heard anything. Open to share more information, blah, 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 blah. July did not happen yet. Okay, so yes. They did say reach flighting was supposed to start in July. If I remember correctly, they said it's somewhere around mid-July, early to mid-July. Basically, the first flight happened like late July. It was super delayed, and it was only given out to content creators. That's fine. A lot of people thought that was going to happen, and a lot of people were just accepting that eventuality. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they give it to content creators for people to then put it out to YouTube? It's what every company is doing nowadays with streamers, ads, everything like that. They're giving these builds, they're giving these flightings just like this to content creators, streamers. I don't even know if anybody even streamed it, actually. Did anybody even stream the MCC flights? I don't know. There's a bunch of... It was one mission. It was tip of the spear. And all the YouTubers were out showing the 4K content. That's what they liked about it. But anyway, yeah. So it happened late July. It was super delayed. And that was to the point where they were trying to put out, I think, flightings every month and a half. And now we're into mid-August, and the second flight is yet to happen. We have no indication of when it's going to happen. But hopefully... So I'm gonna stop with this so I can get on with the article. Hopefully, the second flight, which is the firefight flight, the fire flight they call it, is gonna include a lot more normies, a lot more of people like us, and not content creators. We're tightening the grip on who gets out in these flights. I've been a Halo insider since MCC started that stuff about a year and a half ago, so I should get dibs on second flight, but okay. Held back Fireflight due to severe blocking bugs. Makes sense, they're porting it over to PC. There's a lot of moving gears with that. Continue working to address and solve the bugs. Challenges proved insurmountable to release the flight in July. Again, that's probably why the second flight was delayed, and they did the first flight more of late July. Was it late July? No, it was late June. It was still all delayed. Everything was pushed back like a month and a half. It hits the necessary quality bar. They want frames per second, as least amount of crashes and hang-ups as possible. Effectual and successful flight for both insiders and the company itself, yada, yada, yada. Now they're going to share how it's handled. So hopefully by the end of this article, we're going to know when the second flight's going to happen. What is a blocking bug? Blocking bug. Deemed severe enough to prevent a flight from functioning as needed. Keep in mind that though we address, mitigate, and solve blocking bugs for each ring of flighting, this doesn't mean any flight is bug-free. Obviously, we know that. They're porting an entire game over to PC that did not belong on PC before, so sure. In fact, it's quite the contrary, since each flight is very much a work-in-progress development. Again, what I'm saying. Most cases will be aware of existing minor bugs and proactively identifying these known issues for Halo Insider participants, while in some cases it's the insiders themselves who bring new bugs to our attention while playing. That's the gist of any beta or flighting of what they're doing. Rings. 4 rings in total, with the final ring 3 being the insiders. So, okay. So this is just a glimpse. Already I know where this is going. They're basically saying there's stages of development that they're making these flights into acceptable levels until they can push it out to the public. So Ring 0, which is the very bottom tier, is made up of internal studio folks. So those are the people that are actively working on the flighting, actively working on the build, porting it over to PC, and doing the internal playtests, initial internal playtests. There's a difference between playtests of developers and playtests of actual playtesters. So, yep, combination of the publishing team, pro team, and developers within the studio hold playtests. Exactly. If serious bugs are found in Ring 0, does not progress to the next ring, obviously. Usually serious bugs means things that make the build unplayable, or it's something that they deem severe enough to where they have to fix it. bugs are still going to go from ring to ring to ring to ring. There's going to be bugs even for ring 3, which is the public release. They're just getting out the biggest ones. Does not progress, blah, blah, blah. Team goes back to the drawing board, address any issues. So that's reworking the internal code, I would guess. If no serious issues arise, however, we move to ring 1. Ring 1 is made up of external partners that work closely with the studio, which have for quite some time. Okay, so this is my point of ring 0 is the studio. Ring 1 is external playtesters. So people who are partnered with the company or have been with the company, but they're not exactly working for 343. They're people that know the ins and outs of Halo, that know the business practices, and they can come in and test the game as like a blind party, a control group, we'll say. This allows us to work with players who know the Halo content and are spread around the globe, testing our various pipeline supporting services. That's all just the back end right there. To ensure the experience is fully functional. If any major issues are found here, it can cause a reset all the way back to ring 0, if severe enough and warrants the build. Okay, so again, you can kind of mesh ring 0 and ring 1 together. Just for the fact that the only difference is developer playtests and external playtests. Yep. No serious issues arrive because you're giving it to theoretically you're giving it to a wider audience, which at that point more bugs can be found, more issues can be found, which is great. Ring 2. Ring 2 is made up of even more partners of various skill sets that help test our builds in unique and interesting ways to ensure that we are providing the best experience for all variety of users who are invited to test flighted content. Alright, let's go over that one more time. Partners of various skill sets that help test our builds in unique and interesting ways to ensure we're providing the best experience. What could that mean? That's making me think those are the people who like... That's making me think you have the people who are like speedrunners, people who try to exploit the game, people who try to break outside the map and do things that 343 doesn't really want you to do. That's where I'm getting unique and interesting ways from. Because you have like the general playtesters who are going to just play through the game, you know, have fun with it, maybe dabble in a little bit of experimentation. The unique and interesting ways are the people that, once again, try to break out of the game, try to do the glitches, try to do the speed runs, things like that. That's the unique and interesting ways. As with all previous rings, if any major issues are found here, it can cause a reset. Again, that's all major issues. So once again, it's being tied, you can think of it, it's being tied back to ring 1 and ring 0. Because they're bringing in other people that have a different outlook on the game or a different perspective on how they play it, that shows more potential for finding bugs where ring 0 and ring 1 testers won't exactly find because they're not exactly putting themselves in the situation where they can find them. Then again, or finally, onto ring 3, which is the Halo Insider user group. That's based on key performance indicators for the team sets for wanting to test any given flight. This audience could be hardware-based, experience-based, locale, or any specific metric the team is looking to validate or stress at any given point of these flights. As these flights are not betas, but indeed are at scale tests to validate the state of the build, OSS functionality, and release readiness. So this is what I like, what they're doing over what they did at MCC. So with this, the main thing to take away from this ring 3 is it is the insider public. It is the people that are actively inside Halo Insider. But they're focusing, they're fine-tuning the people they're letting in based on hardware, experience, locale. So locale can mean how are people across the world downloading the game? How's that pipeline? How's that experience? How is I'm gonna guess language. Is all the subtitles correct? Maybe things like that. Hardware based, of course, running it off potato machines and computers made from NASA. Experience based, noobs and MLG Pro. No, I'm just kidding. Experience based is people who probably have done flighting before, so they have a general idea of how to test games. or any specific metric, and it's generalized. Okay. What ring are we at right now? We have completed our first ring 1 test for Fireflight. Holy shit, they are behind. We've all known they've been delayed, but they are fucking really delayed now. Wow. Late last week, the team resolved the final key issue that had been blocking entering Ring 1. There's now a few bugs being worked on that are blocking Ring 2. Okay, so that's good news. They just completed the first Ring 1 test, and they're already moving into Ring 2 after they fix a couple things. Good. 5 Ring 2 blockers and 15 Ring 3 blockers. So again, that just goes to my point of within the lower rings, like Ring 0, 1, and then into 2, the big bugs come out. The guys that are game breaking that just screw up everything. 15 Ring 3 blockers. Now that means that can mean two things. The thing I think it means is it's 15 other type of bugs that are blocking it from going to public playtest. The 5 Ring 2 blockers are different than the 15 Ring 3 blockers completely. So those are smaller end bugs that are probably not as severe, the ones that don't have to be dealt with as quick. Oh wow, they show us the Ring 2 blockers. Look, I just got to keep reading. Security solution does not auto-install once game is installed. Anti-cheat. Long delays in menus accompanied by matchmaking errors can happen. Okay. Opening the settings menu during gameplay can cause the roster to stay stuck on screen. That's weird. That seems kind of weird thing. Okay. Frame loss can be experienced in various menus when played in higher resolutions. Again, that's just PC porting. There's a lot of different things that can go wrong when you get up into higher resolutions. Crash is present sometimes when a match-made firefight game starts. That's probably just how the back-end system handles everybody getting into the matchmaking system at once or being put into the same match and everything getting like synchronized. That's just general matchmaking. Sure. Yes. Fix that, please. Team is currently in progress working through all of these blocking issues with the goal of having them fixed as soon as possible in order to progress to Ring 2 flighting. Before we take the flight to the Halo Insiders, we have a handful of bugs to resolve that involve navigation issues, crashes, and other key issues we believe will hurt the experience. I think the one thing that interests me the most with that sentence is navigation issues. Does that mean UI? I think that means UI. Which they've said they've had some problems with the UI. Even one right here, opening the settings menu. That's one example of a UI problem. It's not a navigation issue, it just means they're having some issues with the UI. These key issues are blockers in that they are deemed severe enough to prevent a flighting from functioning as needed. Once they are and the other issues are identified or resolved, we will continue our process to bring the Fireflight to Insiders. Okay. Next steps prior to the next Insider flight. Even with the Halo Insiders Fireflight flight being in development, we have many other things the team is working on. Rather than derail core development and putting everyone onto the flight for bug fixing, the team's working on MCC PC and Halo Reach for MCC. So that's saying two different teams. MCC as a whole for PC. Again, they're working on like a game-by-game basis. So take that as you will. And then Reach for MCC. So Reach as in console MCC. Because they have to port that over too. They have to make sure that runs at 60 frames and 4K and shit like that for console. Still focused on the deliverables they are working on, but it's safe to say that these core pieces are needed in order to properly deliver the best PC experience when it's ready to release. Hold on. I'm gonna update my title real quick. Update. There we go. Okay. Okay, yep. Safe to say these core pieces are needed in order to properly deliver. Yeah, okay. As each blocking bug is fixed and new ones are found, we will continue to move through the rings appropriately and get ready for our next Insider flight. We have not and will We have not and will continue to not publicly announce dates of when this will happen. Shit. That sucks. So we are actively in development. So basically what they're saying is we're not going to release anything. They're not going to give us a definite date because they can't promise that the things they're working on and the bugs they're fixing are going to be fixed by then. So you've stated before, the team is heads down on working to resolve these issues to continue development on MCC to PC and reach to MCC console. As we've seen thus far, oftentimes even our best estimates end up shifting as the team works through the production and development realities of this complex project. When the firefight matchmaking experience and all content is ready to flight, it will flight. It's the same mantra we've had from the beginning and will continue to have. As with any product that is actively being developed and having a high level of transparency, things change. Dates will be moved as needed, estimates will be accurate and inaccurate, and goals will be hit or missed. Nobody can predict the exact future, and this is what comes with the territory of being as transparent as possible with the development process that it relates to a AAA game title. Basically, they're just saying, guys, we're taking our time here, okay? Which is great. And that actually follows a lot of things that I've been seeing from the community. Like, people have been saying, whenever they put out like a Twitter thing about flighting, even when they posted a Twitter about this, you go look at the comments, people aren't upset. It's actually insane. People aren't upset. They're actually saying, take your time. Like, do this right. People want this right, and 343 is showing it. Chewy. Your account was created 6 days ago, and you come in linking a video. Buddy. Could you not? I'm gonna give you a quick timeout there. You got a 10-minute timeout. Yep. All flighting later makes sense. Let's see here. I think this is all. The rest of this is pretty much just gonna be about. They're just going into more detail why it's taking some time. In order to meet the high quality bar the teams have set for this project, these delays are ensured as the best it can be. That's exactly what people want. A lot of development work in bringing Halo to PC has been invested in building the core experience of the user interface, controls, and how the game plays on PC so it feels right at home on the platform. To put it simply, we're placing extreme focus on the foundations of MCC to ensure it's authentic to the Halo experience and the PC platform. So they're making sure they run amazingly on both. Oh, I love this sentence. If quality wasn't something that we cared for, a mediocre product could be shipped quite easily. It's true. It's true. They could ship it off. They could give us these flights with all these game-breaking bugs, and it would piss people off. But no, they're not going to do that. Don't want to do that, and we know you don't want that. Every stakeholder for this game, including you, the teams involved, all want the best possible product, and therefore are making the right decisions to hold back a subpar experience. Blah, 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 blah. Here's a few examples of some bugs that have been addressed. Okay. So they've been saying there's a lot of bugs, and they were talking about the rings. Now they're going to tell us what bugs they have fixed. So this actually should be interesting. User was prompted a DLC to install Reach, was unable to play. Sure, navigating too fast. Hey, navigation issues. They fixed one, but they still said they've been having navigation issues, so that's good. Settings would be discarded when changing them during gameplay. That's weird. Crash occurred when entering the settings menu. Disabled roster buttons. A lot of settings, navigating, and roster issues. Strange. Title crashes when pausing and Reach gameplay using a controller. Wow. Game has a fatal error when saving settings during fight matchmaking queue. So all those crashes just makes me think it's the underlying code being sent over to PC for a PC build. So things aren't saving correctly, or how different variables or however the code is structured just isn't connecting correctly, which causes these kind of crashes. Why so complicated? It's ready when it's ready. They put it in bold right there. It's ready when it's ready. Closing time. Ooh, they give us a picture? Hope this shit helps share more information with everyone and gives you more insight into development. Also, as a bonus, here's a pretty image of a work-in-progress render for the Elite Miner and the armor customization screen. This was shared to me from Renzi. Interesting. It's definitely a low poly render. It's definitely missing some detail. I can see it in kind of the more bigger details of the armor. Actually, let me turn cursor on here. Properties, capture cursor, done. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of low resolution pieces of the equipment here. So this is definitely a work in progress render. So it looks good. It looks good. Like, you can't really see probably on your screen, but you can see in Reach, a lot of the Covenant design came down to these like hexagonal shapes. There's a lot of intricate hexagonal detail in the structure of weapons, armor, the ships, everything like that. You can actually see that in the fine detail here on the armor. My God, it's going to look so good on PC. And cheers by Postums. So, that's another update, and I think a lot of people needed that. They needed to hear that it's still going to take some time. I know it's probably going to disappoint a lot of people that there isn't a definite release date yet. It didn't really surprise me. They just completed Ring 1, so they're going on to Ring 2, which is the unique people. The unique and interesting ways. But they're still fixing big bugs as well, so they're not getting pushed back to Ring 0. That's good, but they're still having a lot of fatal errors and crashes, it sounds like, so I don't know. It's interesting. Interesting. Well, that's a YouTube video right there, boys.